Om Bhurabhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurabhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurabhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bole, Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bole, Namah Shivaya. Vishveshwaraya Shiva, Vishveshwaraya, Hara Hara Bole, Namah Shivaya. Vishveshwaraya Shiva, Vishveshwaraya, Hara Hara Bole, Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bole, Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bole, Namah Shivaya. Well, welcome again. We have chanted the Gayatri Mantra. So powerful, so invigorating spiritually. And it will lift you up from the lower regions of thinking into the higher planes of spirituality. This Gayatri Mantra has been chanted billions of times by saints and ordinary and people. So the vibration is in the air. That vibration is a real thing. That's why when you go in the company of great saints and sadhus, you're in the ashrams, and you go to places of pilgrimage, then you get that vibration. And it comes easily because it's readily available in the air. You know, this morning I want to tell you that the greatest pilgrimage that we can do, and I do it every morning, is to transcend from the lower nature. Coming up, waking up in the morning, you've slept, the body is at rest, the mind is at rest. So you got to invigorate it, and with a good warm glass of water with some lemon, and then you start the exercise. In the beginning, his body is a little stiff, but as you move in towards a transition from that laziness of tamasic into rajasic, where the mind and the body is like, whoa, at peak performance. And then after 1.5 hours, exercising externally, internally, from the head to the toes, twisting and bending, you put the body to lie down on your back, and you purposely put it in relaxation by giving positive reinforcement. Like I will say, I'm relaxing my toes, and my toes are relaxing, my feet are relaxing, all the way through up to the top of the head and over the body. Relax the body muscles at the bottom of the body, and go inside and relax all the organs in the belly and the chest, the lungs and the heart, and then the face, and then go into the brain and the skull and relax the brain. And then what happens? You exit the body, because you are in this sattvic stage now, and you're ready to go into earth atmosphere as vibration, leaving the body behind, of course, because you can't go with the body. So now you're in the earth atmosphere as vibration. Then you cross over into space at all points, at all points. And then what happens? You would have transcended and gone towards space. Now space is not the end of everything. Space is just on the material plane, everything that was created because space is an element, and with all the planetary system there. But then we go into consciousness. This is what created everything. This is God. This is where Lord Shiva came from out of his free will. This is where Mother Durga came, Swami Parameshananda ji. And with that being said, let us pay adorations to these great spiritual masters, because and these incarnations, because without them we can't go any further. Om Dhyana Moolam Guru Murti Puja Moolam Guru Param Mantra Moolam Guru Vakyam Moksha Moolam Guru Kripam. Adorations. I meditate on you, Guruji. I do your puja. When I go back, I'll do your puja and I'll give you food. I listen to what you've said. Krishna Bhagwan, you give us Bhagavad Gita. On the Christ, you've given Bible. But remember, to know these great incarnations, we have to go direct. Because what was written is with the documentation and interpretation of great souls, and many years after these incarnations have come. So the true essence of the true powers of these great spiritual masters can only be obtained when you go meditate directly on their form and you transcend the human interpretations. Keep that in mind. So when I'm through with this meditation and the Guru, as I walk out the house, then I'll be chanting the Guru mantra, going around the places of schooling, high and lower schooling. I pass the buildings, this college and the trade school, and then I come into this place. This is my pilgrimage, the biggest pilgrimage. I don't have to go anywhere. I did it all physically, going to the Himalayas, and going to Rameshwar and Dhanishkodi, and all the so many places gone. So now the pilgrimage is a mental pilgrimage. That as I walk here and I'm looking at this here, I have the 5 elements in my disposition. This is the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and space, that makes up all of creation. This is the gods and the goddesses. I don't have to personalize it, because when you go into the mandir, when I go back, I look at my altar and I have pictures, murtis of the gods and the goddesses and the Gurujis. That is like a step down. But when you're here, this is where that's why sadhus go into the Himalayas and they go out of the buildings and they want to do meditation. Why? Because they want to be with the 5 elements. So our mandir here this morning, it's the 5 elements, and let us worship them. We always do. And so this is the greater pilgrimage. Now, this morning I want to talk about something specific. That as I speak to people, many people will want to migrate and come to America. It is a land of opportunity, and rightfully so, because the freedom, the Constitution is so powerful that everyone has freedom of religion, and these are rights, freedom to advance, basically what it is in their lives. But when we do not take that freedom, whether because of ignorance that we haven't gone to school and we don't properly understand it, then we bring the old habits from where we came from, whether it be India or the Caribbean, Guyana, Trinidad. We bring these old habits, like one of them is alcoholism. And then this is the source of our recreation, meaning that we work during the week and the weekend comes, oh, how am I going to get together? Which friend am I going to call? Which party am I going to go to? And you're going to go and you're going to enjoy yourself. And then you say, this is life. Well, it's not so. And this is the downfall of people coming to America. Because the opportunity is there on one hand, but then they choose to go back and bring the bad habits. And this is cause of the downfall. And this, in America, we can't go back. When we come, like a Swamiji, when we do take sannyas, we have to take the vow of discarding our previous lives. Thoughts of it should be driven away. All relationships will be ended there. Siblings, parents, whatever. biological parents. But that doesn't mean that you abandon them, but you look after their well-being from a higher perspective. Because when Swami Parameshananda would have snatched me out of this mundane life, and then he put me on the plateau of this spiritual life, he's the one that did it. I didn't think I want to be a Swamiji. So a guru like Swami Parameshananda, 50 years after he left his body, he would have snatched me off, and then he would take me all over the world. So he brought me in a state of spirituality, where all my thoughts break their bonds. In other words, whatever I was thinking now is totally different from what I was thinking before he gave me that initial experience. Because he has the power of wiping out all previous karmas, Swami Parameshananda. And I'm so sure Krishna Bhagavan has that. But Krishna Bhagavan Parameshananda is no other than Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bole, Namah Shivaya. Om Namo Sri Bhagavate Pranavaya. Om Namo Sri Bhagavate Pranavaya. Tumhi Brahma Vishnu, Tumhi Maheshwara, Devadi Deva Mahadevaya Namah. Who is Parameshananda? He's the creator, the sustainer, and destroyer. He's Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Now you must also be able to say that about your guru, because he's a spiritual master. We have the Diksha Guru give initiation, but then when we come to that Moksha Guru, they are manifestations of consciousness. So this morning, it's such a powerful message that, it's a little cold this morning, but I always want to come out here because this gives a sense of freedom, not to be cooped up in a house. I want to come where God is, where all this. So they continue that story that when we come into this country, I was looking at a film that was sent to me through the Face or the WhatsApp, and it talks about the migration of our people from Bihar in the indentured labor ship and Uttar Pradesh coming onto jihad, a cargo ship where there were no bedrooms and no bathrooms, and 250 of them would be in that boat. Imagine that. And when they came, the promises that were made, when they arrived in Guyana and Trinidad and the other islands, they were tortured basically, and they were dehumanized. But when we bring these stories, I'm going to bring it up, but we should not be having these stories in our mind, because they have made good in these countries, migrated now to America and Canada and the UK. So we should not bring up these things. We should not talk about our history. We should give up our personal history, because it's like a prisoner having a chain and a ball at your feet. It's a mental suppression, depression. So when, like for Swamiji, when you take that vow, your previous life is gone, and now you're on the plateau of spirituality. Your thoughts break their bonds. I'm not controlled by ego anymore, because I've served in many places and served the tribal people and served the poor and the sick, being among the dead and taking care of the ones alive and need help in tsunami and Orisha cyclone. So when I said that thoughts break their bonds, is no ego is there anymore. The mind would have transcend limitations. Meaning my mind is not being within what I used to be, because Parameshananda is giving me all the experiences to transcend those limitations of my mind that I had. That my consciousness expands in every direction. And you too, you have to think like this. Meaning that you realize you're Satchidanand, truth, consciousness, and bliss. What's the definition of consciousness? Omnipotent, all-powerful, divine power, and all 100% of the time. All-pervading, existing all over the universe and beyond. Omniscient, knowing the past, present, and future. Because many times when I go to conflict resolutions, you have a half hour when I was in Lebanon with the Siaks and Sunnis, these are the sects of Islam, you have a half hour to talk to these leaders there, the religious spiritual leaders. And when you listen to them, within that half hour, you have to say everything that is so motivating and exhilarating and transformative. Because why? The consciousness expands in every direction. You find yourself in a new, great and wonderful world. Why? Because there's no sadness. You don't bring the past. You don't have a long face, but as a sadhu, you have a bright face. And then dormant forces, faculties and talents come alive. Well, from all sources, the universe is cooperating with you. And then you find yourself to be a great and far better person than you ever dream of. We are spiritual beings having a human experience rather than human beings having a spiritual experiences. In other words, we come to realize that we are the gods and goddesses that we worship in the murtis. And when you meditate on the Guru, he gives you that divine power. Only the Guru can lift you from this, transcend you from this illusionary material creation of the universe, and you transcend to that consciousness. In my body, in your body, you have these 5 elements. But we cannot identify with the body, the mind, intellect, and the ego, because these are the illusions. These are the magic that was created. But he's helping us. Krishna Bhagavan was telling Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, listen Arjuna, you got to transcend, you got to come to that place where you have to study and understand what is keeping you alive. That is me. And Krishna Bhagavan is telling that. And he's telling Arjuna, look, you have to be a disciplined life. You have to live a disciplined life. And he's telling Arjuna, brahmacharyam is one of that too in meditation in chapter 6. He's telling Arjuna, a person who has 4 wives and 4 children, brahmacharyam. But Arjuna understood that because he was ready for it. Are we ready for it too? Because in our Hindu system, we have brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. So when I speak about myself as a sannyas, it's only that I was chosen and I got into earlier. But each one of us, man and woman, has to go through these stages, and each one is a schooling towards our moksha. And when you go to the vanaprastha, you start to give up the duties of the grihastha. And then little by little, you also have to live that life of brahmacharya gradually. And about 70 years, you have to totally give up. And your time now will be totally in meditation. This is our teachings. How beautiful that we have every teaching for us. This morning, don't be a slave to your senses. Transcend it and go to that place of consciousness. Let us do some meditation. Om Bhur Bhuvasva Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Yo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Sri Guru Shivaya Namah. 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 Devotees, what else do you want to hear? If this cannot convince you and transform you, then you're not thinking right. Your understanding is not right. You're right. You're not performing the right actions, and for this reason, suffering will be continuing with you. In this kind of time of COVID, we are forced. We're blessed that we have to go inside. Make it a point to go inside. Don't look outside for happiness. Hari Om, Shanti, Shanti, Hari Om. Love to be with you today and have a beautiful day.